comments and feedback from them at a future point in time. Another concern I have is along the lines of cherry picking, and if it really is true that, and last year this board spent a limited amount of time talking about the ability to provide and the complexities and the challenges of providing a universal service to a large geographical area. And whereas Casper, I think, is the most cost-effective program, it seemed to be the one under scrutiny last year, perhaps because it's co-owned by the city of Fort Bragg and the county. As to the efficiencies at Casper, when we really delved into it, it's the smaller systems, Boonville and Potter Valley, that actually are far less cost-effective. But so the board, I think, did make a good decision that we didn't want to go down the path of setting specific fees for specific transfer stations, in the sense that we need to really create this universal system for everyone in Mendocino. Some systems will cost more to operate, some will cost less. So I have a concern in a privatization proposal that, in a sense, cherry picks ones that are beneficial to them. And if the scenario is also true that this one is quote unquote possibly beneficial to the county of Mendocino, where does that leave us if we tend to go down this path of, I think you could easily say, fragmentation, and having one center be sent off sort of under the guise of this impending crisis that looms out there, or may loom out there, that's been alluded to. So I don't think that that's a good basis from which to make a decision, although I think we need to be mindful of contracts that do expire and our ability to negotiate new ones. So I think the complexity of this needs to be looked at in totality. I mean, and I think it alludes to, Empire Waste taking on other facilities in the county, and that would sort of be going forth. I don't think we've heard from them, but that may or may not be a consideration that they have. So I wouldn't feel comfortable at this juncture saying this seems like a smart move for both Solid Waste of Willits and the county, and we ought to just go down this path, and thinking that by very speculative and very sort of, I think, draft conclusions, assume that it's going to be a cost saver. So I think that the quality of the service, the cost efficiencies, the future economies. I mean, I think there's so many things under consideration here that I don't think we're prepared today to make a decision, at least under the time frame allotted us, unless we had till perhaps 5 o'clock. And I don't see that we do. I see this as a preliminary discussion, and I also am concerned, though, with staff spending quite a bit of time on something and having it be directed to the executive office. I understand their fiscal responsibilities, but I think we need to have our solid waste division front and center with respect to commenting on what they perceive from their professional opinion is the right overview for a very complex process. And I don't think we've had that. Thank you.
I'm going to go to public. Is there any members of the public want to speak on this?
Linda McClure, representing Service Employees Union. It's disappointing to see this contracting out issue back on the agenda. I guess I don't need to remind the board that this was not initiated by the county. Private contractor, at the urging of his friend and Supervisor John Pinches, brought this forward. I'm concerned about the time and money that the county is spending reviewing this over and over. It's not supported by the department. It's not supported by the county administration. And with layoffs looming, and the county's stated position of wanting to maintain as many county jobs as possible, this is really a poor time to be considering contracting out county jobs. There's no evidence of cost saving through contracting out this program, and in fact there's revenue generating potential in the recycling part of it that currently the benefits are going to the private sector. There are ways to work around the obstacles that are there for the county to realize those benefits, and I think those should be explored. As far as employment, my research has shown that the wages and benefits and other employment considerations, health and safety kinds of issues, it would not be a straight across transfer. I think the county in any contracting out situation loses accountability. And the county would still be responsible for the administration and the state mandated monitoring of the sites. So the much of the expensive elements of that are still the county's responsibility. It's my understanding, and I could be wrong, but what I have been told, I haven't verified it, that the private transfer stations currently charge more than the county transfer stations. So I don't know why all of a sudden there would be a change and there would be a there'd be a lower fee. And just overall, I think Solid Waste of Willett's proposal is more self-serving than community serving, and I really do encourage the board to put this aside and not let private contractors direct contracting out considerations in this way. Thank you.
Any other members of the public want to speak on this issue? Supervisor Colfax?
Well, not in this particular statement. There are other people who want to speak.
I don't see anybody out there. Does anybody else want to speak? I haven't seen any. Go ahead.
Well, my understanding was that we were going to get a proposal and we were going to have some vetting of this at a level. Supervisor Smith said we haven't really gotten out there. You know, we haven't. I mean,
Well,
the question I have is, you know, when would we be doing this? And how would we do it? I thought this was essentially the show that we were going to have, and this is it. And on the basis of that, I think here there are opportunities here. If you take a look at the termination provisions in the mocked up or draft contract here, that there is the escape clause here in the event the county determines it necessary to close, et cetera, et cetera. It's page 11 of the buff-colored pages here. The county can terminate this agreement to keep the container site open. County shall offer to the contractor or a container service agreement to service, et cetera, et cetera. So there you're saying you've got a 60-day notice, say this just doesn't work, this isn't working out. Again, I'm just putting that out there as something, okay, I'd like to see something coming from the county saying that the profits we're making from this and the prospects that we have, it's a cheery future, it's a bright future down there under our arrangement of the situation. And besides, we're making some money on this. I'm not really hearing that. I have also had some communications from some people who are close to the situation say, well, the county should be taking the money we're making, and the ones we're making money on, and put it into to the development of equipment or trucks or whatever that would be more consonant with our desired model down there under county supervision. But again, that's taking money out of the out of a pot that is utilized for other reasons. So I'm concerned about is this it? Is this the proposal? And is what's the argument that I make a year from now, 2 years from now, when we discover that, guess what, we don't have a site down in that part of the county and things are going sky high? That is a reality, and given what's happening in Sonoma County, and I've followed it not terribly closely, but I've followed it closely enough to say, and I've followed this garbage issue closely enough over the past 15 or 20 years to say almost anything can happen and does. And in that sense here, we've got a relatively stable situation, but we're also anticipating that there could be a very big speed bump in the road that could make delivery at that part, into that part of the county, and that's all we're talking about. It could make delivery in that part, or service in that part of the county, very, very difficult, if not utterly impossible, for people to afford to, and will start to pay for, and we'll start to see the